Hi there, and welcome to Getting Started with FlowCanvas. To get started using FlowCanvas, you're going to need to add the FlowScript controller component to the game object that you want some scripting on. So I'm going to add component, FlowCanvas, FlowScript controller. That adds two new components. There's the blackboard, which will store the variables, and the actual FlowScript controller script with the Create New FlowScript button. So I'm going to click that. And this gives you the option to have a bound graph or an asset graph. An asset graph is an asset file and can be reused amongst any number of graph owners. But you cannot store scene object references within the nodes of an asset graph. So in most cases, you'll want to use the bound graph. And that will open up the canvas, which I'm just going to dock. And at any point, if you want to change your bound graph to an asset graph, you can just go to Edit, Save to Asset. To add nodes to your graph, you can either right click or press space, and this will pull up the FlowScript node browser. I'm going to browse through Events, Input, Input button. And by default, it's Fire 1, which is left control on the keyboard. And up here in the properties, you can just rename it to any other input that you care for. So the right facing triangles are the flow ports, and you use these to connect different methods and function nodes so you can call them and make stuff happen in your game. I'm going to drag out and release, and I get a context sensitive browser, and this time I know what node I want. It's the log text, so I'm going to write log, and at the top log text comes up. Now the log text function currently doesn't have any text, it's null. So up here I could either write hello, or I could drag out from its value port and make a constant variable. So I have hello, and you can edit it up there. So now when the input button is pressed, the log text will output hello. So I'm going to hold down Control, and the console is printing hello, and you can also see the visual debugging of the flow working correctly. Now flow ports can only have one output but many inputs, and value ports can only have one input but many outputs. So if I was to duplicate this node, Control D, I can't select another instance of pressed, but I can chain them up. And I could also connect them all up this way. So the input can have many inputs, but the output can only output once. And I'm going to release those by right clicking on them, and then I'll just connect that again. And for value ports, you can only have one input, but you can reuse the variable for other nodes, so I can connect that up there. Within FlowCanvas, the self parameter represents the owner of the flow script, and I'm going to illustrate this with a set bool on an animator node. On functions, expected, animator, methods, and set bool string boolean. So the animator value is red for the self, because this cube doesn't have an animator component attached to it. So if I click on cube 2, it does have an animator component. So over here in the set bool parameters, I'm going to click on cube 2. And now it's green to show that it's a valid value. Now the name of the boolean I want to affect is CanSpin, which is a simple animation I set up earlier, and I'm going to set its value to positive. I'm just going to delete this by hitting delete. I'm going to drag up the flow control and drop it and it goes to the only place it can go. So now if I press play and hold down Control, it spins, but it doesn't stop. So let's just quickly fix that. So I'm going to click on the set bool, Control D to duplicate, and I want the up flow, and I want to make this can spin into a constant variable so I can reuse it. I'll just drop it on to name, and I can set the Boolean value itself to false. I can also drag that out and make it constant so it's nice and big to see, and make that one constant too. So now if I press play, I hold down Control, it's spinning, and then when I release, you see the visual debug set the up command. Okay, I hope this has been helpful to you, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.